That's all right. That's all
Hey,
right.
everybody.
You know what? We just now went live. So you joined us right as we were going live.
I'm like, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Perfect timing. Hey,
Perfect
everybody.
Well, everyone at home on Facebook or at home or wherever you might be, welcome to our L Word West Virginia Facebook live chat. I'm super excited, as you can tell by the smile on these. Gosh, COVID really did a number on me. What? I like to blame it on that. It's just all my fault. All my fault. We have some wonderful folks with us tonight, and we're just going to be talking L Word. I feel silly saying this, but we're talking all things lesbian.
Yes.
Yes. And so with us, we have Stacy Odin, and Stacy, it says her handle, it's Candy Love, and that's is that Instagram and Twitter?
So that's Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. If you're into it, Pinterest. Yes.
Awesome.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Chris.
And we have Carly Walker with us.
Hello.
And then we have Brittany and Brandy with us.
Woo-hoo.
Hi.
And then we have Liz and Lynn joining us as well. Now, I have to tell everybody, and I talked about this before we went live, but Liz and Lynn are part of the L Word crew. When we had a viewing party, when the L Word was on Showtime when the new season came out this past year, and we had a viewing party, and was it Monday nights or Sunday nights?
Sunday nights.
Sunday nights. And we met every week it was 8 weeks, wasn't it?
Yep.
It's like a whole semester.
Yeah.
Right. And when it was done, I'm like, where are the girls? Like, where are my L Word girls? But it was a lot of fun because I'd never seen the L Word before. And Stacy, I'm getting all your messages right now.
Technology.
Right.
Yes.
But the L Word viewing party that Pride had at the Cantina was a lot of fun because I'd never seen it before, but it was really great for that group that came together because we had anywhere from like 15 people or so. I mean, there was a couple weeks that we just had a few, but it was over the holidays and it was kind of tough. And I think this is important to point out, but I was the only guy there most of the days. And that's also part of the reason I wanted to do an L Word chat is, we're doing all these chats to try to bring people together and get people talking to groups that they don't normally even socialize in or know much about. And, I mentioned to somebody once that we were doing the L Word viewing parties, and they're like, oh, the L Word. Okay, that's cool. And I said, it's a lot of fun. Like, I'm really into the show. Like, even I'm yelling back at the TV when things are happening. And there were some scenes where I was like, wow. Here, let me get my church lady Pride fan out. Wow. And the person I was talking to, and he's like, and I said, well, you should, come out some Sunday and watch it. And he's like, well, that's the Lesbian show. Why would I watch that? And I'm like, really? I'm like, talk about division. You know what I mean? So it's those types of things that as long as we're having these conversations and hopefully we're inspiring folks to have conversations in their own circles and whatnot. But
Yes, and Chris, whenever you told me about this, it was really important, I think, just to the scope of, I think that a lot of communities feel really left out. And right now with everything that's happening, I think that we're really bringing a microphone to give to people to say, let's amplify your voices. So the fact that Chris proactively had already had the L Word watch party going on, and mind you, ladies, I found about it after the fact. I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is so cool because it's a rare opportunity that you get to be not only to have a community, but to have people outside your community come in. So that's why this L word chat is so important, because it's like, this is the opportunity for us to have our conversations that we need to have and really to create the community that we need to. So this idea, like Chris, like more props to you, because this is the opportunity for us to come together, talk about different issues that people might not be privy to, conversations that people just might not know how other people walk this earth. So thank you all so much for being here, because this is about to get chatty, and I cannot wait. Like, I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
Well, Stacy, before we went live, I was telling the group how the L word crew surprised me at the very end of the season, and they gave me an L like the crew. Yes. So I'm honorary, I guess.
Absolutely. And the thing that I also really appreciated, one, Chris, for you keeping that organized and being there with us every single Sunday. I mean, that is a commitment, and that meant so much to us. It was also very interesting that being at the cantina every week to watch it in a public setting, there was such a mixed group of people there, because you had all the bar patrons, and they were there for various reasons, and we would have the TVs on, and you know, a lot of the first moments of each episode were really attention grabbing moments. Yes. That had all of the fellas in the whole place turned around, just what is happening back here. That I really appreciated how that exposed a whole other group of folk to who we are, and also meshed us together into the same space where we were still very welcome to come to that space and do our thing and watch our thing, and everyone let us do it and was very comfortable there. So I really appreciated that aspect of having that event.
Well, and that was something, like, I mean, the very first scene in the very first episode. And I remember, yeah, see, everyone's nodding because they know, right? And the one of the bartenders at the cantina, I don't know if you remember, she was walking by, she had a case of beer, and she looked up at the TV and she did like, everyone's welcome. So, and also, just to throw a little more spotlight at Liz and Lynn's direction. But your I guess, are they your pseudonames when you're in the rink on your Facebook?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Alter egos. I don't know. I feel like it's my same ego. It's just an extension of me.
And which roller derby group, because I don't want to butcher this, so I'm going to have you say which roller derby group you're with.
Yeah, West Virginia Roller Derby.
Yes.
That's so cool.
So we have, not only do we have Liz and Lynn with us, but we have Liz Vicious and Betty Rage with us. I love it.
Yes.
I love it. So Carly, I guess let's just start this. So now, correct me if I'm wrong. You were running for office last year when I met you, right?
Correct. Yeah, I was running for a city council representative in Ward 6 in South Charleston.
And how did that? Because were you also coming out at a similar time?
I probably came out at 22.
Well, you're only 22 and a half, so.
I'm 28 now, so yeah, so I've been out for a couple years before that, but still recently new to the outside lesbian scene, not the closet lesbian scene, out of the closet lesbian scene. So yeah, it was definitely interesting putting myself out in like the public eye.
Yeah.
For the first time really at that level, having to walk door to door to people's house and things like that, because unfortunately there are some people around here that aren't as friendly to our group of people. So I ran into a little bit of that every once in a while, but it was still a really good experience.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
And that was my big question, is like, how was that experience? You know, because
It was interesting, not only being a lesbian, but also just because I was so young. People would kind of look at me and be like, oh, are you campaigning for your mother? Like, are you the one that's actually going to run for office? Just because I am 28, I look like I'm about 16, 17. So that didn't really help me that much in that aspect. But I actually had a lot of support. I only ended up losing by 50 votes to the current person who was in city council, and obviously he still is now, and they're 4-year terms, so I'll probably end up trying to run again.
awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good showing.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it's a great way to get involved in the community. It also kind of puts our voice out there in politics, and it's not always there. So.
Well, that's good. You know, you never know, at least I never know, whenever I talk to folks who have, you know, run for an office, and it's refreshing to see folks who are honest with the public about who they are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like we hear all these stories of these, you know, not to take us down a political road here, but you know, you hear these stories of folks that are closeted, and they really do the community no service, and even the community at large zero service by, you know, keeping that from everybody. So I was just wondering, you know, how the reception was. So
Yeah, no, it wasn't as bad as I originally thought it was going to be, just because we do kind of have a elderly population in South Charleston. There's not as many younger people that live here, not as many progressive people, but it actually was a really good experience. I really didn't experience that much hatred or anything to that nature. It was more their questions were Democrat, Republican, not necessarily, you know, any serious what do you stand for belief questions. Sure. City council, it's more like, I'm going to call and complain that my neighbor's grass is too high, so as long as you have somebody come cut the grass, I don't really care what you do. So it really wasn't that bad. Now running for maybe a higher public office, then maybe that would have come into play a little bit more, but at city council I really didn't have too many issues with it. So
yeah, well, I'm excited that you want to run again.
Oh yeah. I mean, now's the time, if anything, to get involved and be involved if you really want to see change happen.
Yeah.
So that's the goal.
We got some South Charleston folks here, so we'll campaign for you. We'll help you out.
Yes.
That's right. Brandy owns Brandy's Health and Fitness right there in South Charleston. What?
Yeah. I run by like almost every day.
That's me. So we're down here as well. We'll help you out for sure. We'd love to.
Awesome.
So Brandy,
Oh, no. What story are you about to tell? with that laugh.
See, this is why I love having everyone on here, you know? Well, it's calling me out is what it is, because, you know, I've been going to the gym and eating a lot, but going to the gym for years. And I did some photography for Brandy. And she's like, well, let me give you some, you know, personal training sessions. And I'm like, you know, that's cool, because I haven't seen a personal trainer in probably more than a decade, you know, and there's new things going on out there. So I show up the first, you know, we did 4 training sessions, like 1 a week. And I show up in my typical, before I work out, I'm kind of old school the way I work out. Not a lot of the CrossFit or the high intensity interval training and all that kind of business. Like on the roller rink, I'd be dead. You'd have to drag me around. Like I just don't have that stamina. But so before the workout, I take my pre-workout. And then Brandy puts me through this workout where I'm using less weight, but how she had everything tiered and set up, and all of a sudden my heart rate is just going and it's going. And then all of a sudden she looks at me and she's like, do you feel okay? I'm like, you know, I'm starting to lose my vision on the side.
It's not a good sign.
So I had to sit down. She gave me some water. I'm like, you almost made me pass out. Like, that's a good workout.
Yeah, that might look like bad advertising right there.
It's not. It's
it's not like that all the time.
No, that's right. No. No, you approach folks according to their needs and their abilities.
Yeah.
So I guess that almost leads me into stereotypes. I mean, the stereotype of, even being in the gym, of having a male trainer versus a female trainer. I guess that's more than not even just specifically a lesbian stereotype, or maybe it is. But like, what kinds of stereotypes, if at all, do you deal with? Even example, I was having a conversation with someone the other day talking about the L word and, this chat. And they were talking about how oftentimes, a lot of their lesbian friends hear from like a guy at a bar saying, you just haven't been with the right man yet, or something asinine like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're all probably like, well, that's the reason we're not. That's why I'm a lesbian. But, I mean, I think, listen, this is your chat, not mine.
I think that we definitely get that a lot with roller derby, that we get either that it's a big group of lesbians, or that it's super sexualized, like hypersexualized, with these like pinup-y girls, and there's no in between of just being female athletes. So yeah, we definitely get the gamut between those two extremes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can agree with that. I played basketball almost my entire life growing up, and even in high school days, like it's like every person automatically assumed our whole team was gay just because we were athletic and played sports.
Yeah.
And that's definitely not the case. I've played with plenty of straight teammates, also played with plenty of lesbian teammates, but I mean, it really just depends on the person. It's not about what sports you play, how you dress, anything like that. I think those stereotypes are still really prevalent today. So I would agree with that. From the
How
sport.
short your hair is. I mean, it's all those things.
Yes, because you wear it in a bun with a headband all the time. You
Yes.
got yeah.
There's
Mhm.
it's still all those things are still around and still said, and you still have to kind of deal with those. And I mean, I think at this point for me, I can brush it off like, well, I fit the stereotype, but you know what? I am a lesbian, so there's that. But I mean, you just kind of take it. And I mean, before I felt super comfortable with it, it would bother me. Like, oh, I'm fitting that stereotype. I'm, better not wear my hair that way, or, better not talk about basketball or sports, or, there was that. But now I mean, that's who you are. And exactly. I mean, that everybody's going to always assume that and think that with those stereotypes, that's just how it is. That's the nature of it.
Yeah.
But I think it's just like, you know what? So what? I maybe I fit it. Maybe I fit some of those things, and maybe I don't. And maybe other people fit it, but they're not lesbians. I mean, it's just how it is. People are always going to kind of judge or assume or think one way or the other.
Yeah.
So.
Right. Yeah. It's even like that in relationships. Like they try to put heterosexual labels on a lesbian couple. Like, all right, so which one of you's the man?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're both female, so neither of us are the guy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's something I've never really understood either. But that one's definitely still something that I get asked frequently.
Just listening to some of that, and not that I haven't thought of that before, but it's, even with the gay male community, there's that whole notion of bottom shaming. There's always a dominant and a submissive, and it's like, well, why can't we just be gay? Like, why does it have to be who?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even that masculinization of like, oh, you have the short hair, so you must be a lesbian, or
Yeah. No,
why can't people?
Lesbians inherently masculine, like.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is so not the case. I mean, listen, even after watching the L Word, there was a whole lot of feminine and masculine in that. But
I can't wait for next season.
Oh, the airport. Like, what's gonna happen?
At the airport. I know, right? See, what's going to happen is folks at home that are watching this chat and they saw the name, the L word, West Virginia. They're like, ooh, they're going to be talking about the L word, and they're going to be talking about. Well, I mean, we can do that too. Well, I mean, because that show is culturally significant. You know, I mean, there are a bunch of other movies that have come out that, you know, feature or put the spotlight in a positive manner for, you know, lesbian communities. But I mean, are there other, I can't even think off the top of my head, other television programming that does that.
There is, not that I know of, any that really revolve around whole community.
Right.
It's usually one-off characters in shows. They're starting to be more and more leads in some shows. One show recently that we've really fallen in love with is Vita.
Okay.
And it's about Latina sisters that have come back to East LA, and their mother passes away in the first episode, and they're coming back to kind of figure things out. And their bar has kind of had this lesbian vibe to it. And it's I think a really great representation. It's on the Stars Network. And then at the same time, I caught this new show that's coming out also on Stars called Hightown, where the main character is a lesbian who is a officer for like fishing and wildlife type thing. But yeah, to actually talk about the whole community as like a whole group, I think the L word, as far as I know, is the only thing that's really represented that.
Yeah. Well, and I think, like you said, you know, it's not presenting the community as like that peripheral character.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like it's really immersive, and I even love how one of the characters is a trans man,
Mm-hmm.
and how they dealt with him, I thought was wonderful, because he was himself.
Yeah.
You know, there was no.
In the earlier episodes, they had a trans character, but it was before I think they really knew how to handle the subject matter and talk about it thoughtfully and present that character. So they have had a trans character multiple trans characters in the past, but this was finally with Generation Q that they really highlighted that and let that be a leading story and be so naturally intermixed in the storyline.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
yeah, I think that this is the the first show that I've watched where I've been like in a while where there's been a trans actor or trans actress that like that's not the point of their character.
Right.
Like the representation of like I cannot remember their names. I'm awful with names. Is it Tess? Bartender?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Sense8 maybe.
Yeah, she's on Sense8.
The cute little girl that Bet and Tina's daughter ends up with. Am I spoiling a lot of stuff people haven't watched? I mean, at this point, you should have just watched it. But yeah, I just thought that was really cool that you know, we're moving in a direction of somebody's identity not being the sole role of like who they are in the show. You know, I guess if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, totally it does.
You're not exploiting this person for who they are, is what I really mean to say.
Yeah. They're not tokenizing them. They're not exploiting them.
It's just you are in this show, and
right.
That's it. Mm-hmm.
Well, I looked at Facebook to look at our comments, since, you know, for all you Facebook folks at home watching, there's a lag between what we're talking about and when you guys are seeing it. So now Beth Lewis, she said, Chris Goss's, we're totally getting you on skates. So That might have to be alive or something, because I don't know how I would do.
I would
Hashtag Chris on
Thanks, Chris.
You know what? You know, it'd be funny. Yeah, there's me being funny. The Pride Board, once a year, we do a turnabout drag show as part of one of our bingos, because every other month, when we're allowed to gather in person, we do a drag queen bingo. The opposite months, we do a bowling night at Galaxy Lanes. But one of those, the April bingo, is usually a turnabout drag show where the board dresses up in drag, the folks who don't normally dress up in drag. So you'll have drag kings, you'll have drag queens. And so going on to the Pride Board, I knew that I'd have to be done up in drag. And Vicki Williams is my drag mother, and Priscilla Devine. So I'm kind of like a hybrid, but I'm a Madonna fan. So my name is Mandonna Devine Williams. And she only comes out once a year, but her on roller skates.
Taking it to a whole different level.
Yes.
Whole new level. Whole new level. Oh my gosh.
This might be the year.
It might be the year.
The year of all kinds of craziness. Why not?
I know, right? What kind of experiences have you all had within the gay community? You know, because I talked a little bit about, like, it's human nature for a lot of folks to click, you know? And like that person that I was talking about earlier who said, why would I watch that? Because that's the Lesbian show. And it's like, well, why in the hell wouldn't you watch it? Like, they're still part of our family, you know? It's, do you find a lot of things like that, or see a lot of things like that? Maybe, maybe not.
I was just waiting. I didn't want to get in front of anybody else wanting to talk.
No, go ahead.
I think both of us personally, we've had incredible experiences with anybody that we've come across in the gay community. That's female, male, whatever. I mean, of course, we were also very fortunate just knowing a lot of people, or knowing someone who knew a lot of people coming into that and just introducing us to, you know, a lot of the gay community. Really, a lot of Chris, you know, a lot of the boys more than girls. I mean, honestly, I didn't know any probably lesbians here for a couple years. I mean, it was all the guys that I knew, all the gay guys, which was fine and it was great. But then, you know, slowly you'd start to meet a few people out, and I don't know if it's just us and our personalities, or if it's just how we are as a community, but it clicks like that. I mean, it's like you meet them the one time, boom, you're friends. And I mean, that's been our experience, and they're friends that we continue to hang out with, or at least, you know, stay in contact with, or we haven't seen them for a while. You see them out and it's like, oh my God, like you know, like you never skipped a beat. So me personally, my experience with that, with anybody I've met in the gay community, it's been great, and it's been accepting, and it's like instant friends. And, you know, you could, you know, see them, you know, the next day, or see them a year from now, and it's going to be the same.
Right.
So it's been great on my end.
Anybody else? I feel like that's the general consensus, though, honestly, especially in Charleston.
Yeah.
I always tell folks that Charleston's like this, you know, and I'm sure there are other parts of the state too, not to just say it's Charleston, but I always talk about Charleston being a bubble, you know, that, no, we're not perfect as a community. We still have a lot of things to work on, you know, but I think, you know, when it comes to, you know, even when we have our circles of friends that are the guys or the girls, there's so much overlap though too.
Yeah, right.
I think the new group that was starting to form right before COVID hit, Lesbian Friends, that were having monthly public meetups, was starting to really get the ball rolling, and really providing a space for our community to meet and hang out, meet each other, share our resources and network, and party and drink and do whatever. It was really cool what was happening, and it was really building. And then of course COVID hit, and that just put a halt in everything. But yeah, I started to meet so many people and those meetups that I'd be so happy when we can start doing that again. But there is a Facebook group where people are on there talking. So, but having that in person and seeing faces that you recognize but you don't know the person is very cool to see.
Yeah.
Now, I was bummed that I didn't really get a chance to go to any of those before COVID hit, because I mean, I need more gay friends. A lot of my friends are straight. Not that I don't love them, but I would like to have more gay friends. So I was pretty bummed that I didn't get a chance to get involved in that, because it is a pretty neat thing that whoever created, and it's a safe space and great way to make some friends. So,
Absolutely.
You know, I feel like I'm missing out because it's only within the last maybe 2 or 3 weeks that I heard about the Lesbian Friends group, meeting out, and I'm like, I want to go. Like,
well, just bring your little L and just say, I'm an honorary member.
I'm done. Don't worry.
This gets me in.
Bring you in as like the guest speaker when we're allowed to meet again.
Right, when we're allowed to meet again.
For sure.
I had a lesbian friend said to me years ago, we were talking about, we have gay bars, and you don't often hear of lesbian clubs anymore. Like at one point you did, and just kind of how, gay bars are transitioning now, because there's so many places that we are welcome and we are safe. And, I'm not naive. I know that there's still bad situations that happen out there, but I was talking about the Broadway once, and she said, well, the Broadway isn't a lesbian bar, and I won't go there because it's not my kind of bar. And I'm like, well, what is your kind of bar? So like, is there, and even the Broadway's gone, but the Lee Street Lounge now being, the gay bar in this area. Do you feel a lot of that too?
Like there's not a place to go just for like, just
right.
to hang out with.
Well, and even to kind of on top of that, as a Pride board, and I've had folks reach out and say, hey, when are you going to have some lesbian events? And I usually say, well, what event have we done that's not a lesbian event? And they're like, okay, good point. But, it's like, but there is truth to that, where giving a community voice and representation and visibility, it's like, are we always doing things that are more likely to attract the guys, or the queens, and not necessarily the girls?
Right. I think that's a really great point, and I would love to see more of that. I did have a conversation not so long ago with my aunt who grew up here, who is lesbian, and I was talking to her about that there was a lesbian bar in Charleston back in the day. I think there were more than one lesbian bars back in the day, like in the 80s. And why we don't still have that. I'm like, that would be amazing. That would be so cool to have that. And she explained to me that the reason why those existed is those were safe spaces to go to, because you couldn't be anywhere else.
Right.
And now you can be everywhere.
Right.
So we don't have to have those designated spots. So that made sense in that, you weren't going to a bunch of different places and just being.
Right.
And there was a really direct need for that. But I would like to see more representation in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely would like to see at least one other gay bar in town. I mean, especially somewhere where you could go dance. Like, I miss Atmosphere. Atmosphere was great. I'm really sad that the Broadway shut down, because dancing there was also fun too. Plus, the atmosphere at a gay bar is just always 100 times better, I feel like, than a straight bar. Everybody's a lot more friendly, outgoing, like Brittany and Brandy were saying earlier, instant friends.
But the atmosphere is very much on a male gay scene, I think, because all your bartenders are male.
Right.
You don't have that representation of all genres in there.
Yeah.
I agree. I think it does always weigh more towards it's gay men, or it's a gay bar, not a lesbian bar kind of thing. It does seem to go more that way. And I think you're right. I think it has something to do with the bartenders. I think it has something to do with drag queens, if there's drag shows there. I mean, the draw that gets.
Because we rarely see drag kings out.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think it's probably a combination of those two things. And probably, I think it has maybe a lot to do with a safe space. I think maybe a lot of lesbians wouldn't feel comfortable going to just a gay bar where there's guys there too, or there's a lot of straight folk go to just gay bars to watch the drag shows. You know, I think there are a lot of lesbians that's not their thing. Because I know for me personally, going out to gay bars and then going to these lesbian friends, get-togethers.
Yeah, it's different.
Saw people I've never ever seen before.
Mm-hmm.
And these are folks that have been in the community for a long time.
Right.
So I think there's something to that.
Yeah.
Feeling that lesbian friends is a safe space, a safe group.
Well, and that's part of what excited me, even with the group, that we had for the L Word viewing parties, is everyone in that group are not necessarily folks that I saw going out to gay bars or traditional, I don't know what traditional gay spaces are, but you know what I mean.
Right.
And that excited me because I met a whole new group of people that I love. Actually, when I see Liz and Lynn out on the street, this was before COVID, I about attack them with hugs because I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But, there's sometimes, when we're having these conversations at Rainbow Pride, I'm always conscious, or I'm trying to always be conscious of, as time goes on, and again, we're not perfect and we still have so much more work to do. But as we are welcome in other spaces, how do we maintain our cultural identity while integrating with the rest of, I don't want to say straight world, but I think you get the idea that I'm, getting at is how do we maintain that? Because sometimes, when the community at large, do you hear my dog whining?
Is that our dog
Ours
whining?
is crying.
But how do we maintain, that beautiful diversity in our community without losing it, as we're mixing elsewhere? That's why I'm excited about the Lesbian Friends. I'm so going to work on getting in on this. I'm like,
You absolutely should.
And, I think the Bear's Den was one of those bars that I don't know if it was like a straight up lesbian bar back in the day, but I know they had like a lesbian night or something of that nature.
We just made it a lesbian night. It wasn't really a lesbian night.
Well,
When I first moved here, I thought it was a gay bar, and I was so excited.
Yeah.
And then I was like, something's not right.
they missed out on a serious opportunity with a name like that, right?
That's when I first kind of moved into Charleston, and I heard about the Bear's Den, and that was kind of one of the places to go because that's where all the lesbians went. And it was, I think, like a certain night, but it wasn't really a gay bar. Just sort of,
Right.
It wasn't even like, oh, it's the lesbian night at the Bear's Den. It's just like,
Gotcha.
those folks that went knew that, like, hey, this is where we go on Thursday or whatever night it was. But pretty much all lesbians. It was.
Yeah. Well, I know early on in Pride World, I've been doing this a lot on our chat, little air quotes. I don't know what's up with that with me tonight.
I don't either.
I know. But, as long as you hear me. And
Always, Chris.
Hear you.
We hear you.
But in, you know, in pageant world, you know, local pageants, you know, we have our Miss and Mr. Pride. And then, you know, now we have our Miss Pride Femme and our Mr. Pride King. And they used to be, the title was L Pride, which stood for, you know, Lesbian Pride. And we changed the name within the last couple of years to be more inclusive because, you know, we have trans men participating, and we even have allies, you know, participating in the pageant. So we just want it to be more representative of the community well, just our entire community. But the Bears Den is where that L Pride pageant originated, even before they were associated with Rainbow Pride. And they started off there, and I know there's some years I'm missing here, and I know they eventually, Atmosphere had taken over, you know, the L Pride pageant, and then Rainbow Pride absorbed it in recent years. But so the Bears Den does have like that significance of, you know, in Pride world, you know, yeah, that history.
That history.
But wouldn't it be fun, like those places that might still be around that were those venues, to kind of have like a, I don't want to call it like a reunion night, but, you know.
That would be very cool. I think that would be great.
Or a lesbian friends night.
That'd be good for that.
We should just schedule one without anybody knowing.
Yeah,
We're all friends over. Just
wear your mask.
All show up.
That's right. Wear a mask. Definitely.
Okay, wear a mask. Go to a bar.
We have, let's see. Beth Lewis is ultra. Yes. Hi, Beth Lewis. She said the red carpet should totally have a queer night. Well,
I mean, isn't every night?
I was going to say. It is.
Maybe Beth Lewis should go to the red carpet more often.
Maybe that's the moral of this story. That's the lesson. Gosh, just calling her out like that.
I'm calling her in. It's okay.
Calling her in. I like that much better. Calling her in. That is perfect. I love it. Justin Hilbert said something, and this was earlier, so, and I know this is aimed at Brittany and Brandy, but those girls get calls about their grass all the time. What's that? Is that all?
Calls about our grass?
I don't know. Justin Hilbert said it. I don't know what he's talking about.
Is your grass too high in your neighborhood?
No, absolutely
No,
not. The exact
Brandy's
opposite of that.
Like the grass Nazi.
Yeah, so it must be like, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Are you calling?
Ask him exactly what he means by that.
Okay, I'll ask him.
Yeah.
I'll ask him. You know, there was something when we achieved marriage equality, and I remember folks talking about, you know, especially a lot of gay guys talking about just how, you know, everyone excited that it's legal, you know, we can actually go out and get married. And I started to find that it was more of, although I can say there are tons of, you know, male couples that I know that have gotten married, but it seems like so many more lesbian couples that I know had gotten married and have started families. And, you know, am I just stereotyping, or is that something you all have noticed too?
I would say we know more lesbian couples that have got, for sure.
Yeah, I think so too.
Same.
And now Brittany and Brandy, and I mean, I apologize if I'm bringing up too much personal information, but you two went through the route of fostering for a while.
We did.
Was that difficult being a lesbian couple, or a same gender couple even?
Not with our agency, no. And like initially, like starting the process of it, no, not an issue at all. They were like, you know, that has nothing to do with anything. We're looking at this. Are you good people? And why do you want kids? And it was that. We had the best experience with that.
With the agency.
It got into, which it shouldn't. And this is getting into a whole different, you know.
Right. We don't have to go down the whole path.
A whole different talk with this, with the foster system and how broken that is.
Right.
The parents were way too involved. They did not agree with us. with two lesbians
Taking care of their
kids. And that got into it, which it shouldn't, but they were, and this shouldn't be either, friends with some of the people who were like transporters and things like that. So it ended up being, we went through some things with that, but initially, like the agency, no, not at all. No questions asked even about that. Didn't matter one bit. That was a great experience as far up to that point. That was good. No issues.
So the child's biological parents were the ones that had
the issue. Yeah.
Interesting.
And that definitely spilled over and played in as time went on. And it shouldn't have. They shouldn't have had anything. They shouldn't have known even anything about us, really. I mean, should have been. So that got a little tricky and a little hairy there at the end, and you know, it got kind of tough. I mean, things got tough and kind of hard to deal with, and so.
It in a great sense, though, it's refreshing that the agency it was a non-issue. They were just looking for good parenting. A good place to put the kids to thrive. And, you know, I don't know who you all went through. I know there's a few in the region, but NECO has gotten involved with Rainbow Pride before, and which was exciting, you know, to have a group like that actively seek out, you know, participating with a pride group.
Right. No, that is. I think that's great. I think, honestly, we might have been one of the first, though, lesbian couples or gay couples. We went through, I mean, I don't care to say it. Right. Burlington United Methodist was the agency we went through. And I honestly think we were probably the first lesbian or gay couple to approach them.
Wow.
More of a private, I guess, agency versus like what you were talking about. So I think it was one of the first, but they were great. Like, awesome. I mean, that was just a non-issue. It was like, look, we need these kids in good homes, and you guys look like you will provide a really good home. So that was all great experience as far as that went initially.
Right.
So.
Well, and you guys were amazing. And even when I met the kids, I mean, the kids really did thrive. So I won't talk anymore about.
I mean, that's good to know. Like, I'm happy you guys shared that. I mean, eventually down the line, we've got plenty of kids as is right now, but down the line, maybe when Gavin gets out of the house and things like that, we've always considered that. And I mean, with everything going on in politics right now, I've always been kind of worried from that aspect, but it's great that the agency was cool, but kind of how the parents have that much involvement. So.
And I think that had to do with that system being broken. I mean, again, I didn't want to go down that. That's a whole different.
Oh yeah.
A
whole different.
You know what?
We're getting
that
into
could be. Mm-hmm. That could be an eventual, you know, Facebook Live chat, just talking about, you know, gay parents or gay folks that either have adopted or want to adopt or
just foster,
right. Just foster.
This is so interesting to me. I'm taking this all in because this is something that I want in my future and my probably more immediate future. So getting this knowledge from you all is really great to see.
Well, that would be, I mean, I think you're right, Chris. That would be another great topic, you know, to have and to touch on and to bring somebody in from, you know, one of these agencies, just, you know, get them more connected and to get them more familiar with people in the community and people that might be interested in adopting or fostering or, I mean, I think, you know, that's how all this gets better. I mean, for sure, is getting everybody more involved and actually in it and talking to people about it. So I think you're right. I think that would be a great topic, a great session.
You might be getting a call again to participate.
We would jump in. We'll get another bottle of wine for that one.
That's right. Right. Liz, cheers.
Okay, there you go.
So Greg Oxley said, many a queer night have I spent at the carpet. And Aaron Hart says, Beth Lewis, it's always queer at the red carpet. Milwaukee. So, I tell you, and you know, we're starting to sound like a promotional video.
The carpet for the Bears Den.
The Bears Den, Lee Street Lounge, the red carpet. Let's
give credit to where credit's due.
That's right. That's
exactly.
right.
Yes.
And you know, we are blessed having so many places in town, so many venues that are welcoming.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I even know of places that if the patrons get out of line, the establishment has a zero tolerance.
Yeah.
You know,
there aren't many places that I wouldn't feel welcome.
Yeah.
So that's amazing.
Yeah.
In here.
It really is. There was a venue that, see, Beth is commenting again, and I'm not gonna.
She's here for it.
She is here for it. I saw Beth today. I had to go into GNC and pick up some things, and she's like, I can't wait. I can't wait. But we do have. Oh, sorry, my train of thought had a hiccup. There was a venue just outside of Charleston that a group of us was at before the end of the year. And there was one person who toward the end of the night, had some drinks and had some issues that there were so many gay guys there. But his mistake was he looked at a gay guy and said, look at all these, and he made a few expletives, and they're like, well, and as soon as he was expressing himself, fortunately, not to laugh about it, but fortunately enough, for us and our group that was there, aside from having each other's back and the bar, the venue, it was like a restaurant bar. They immediately heard what was going on, and they're like, hey, you have to go. Like, everyone is welcome to hang out here, and you're the one that doesn't belong here. And then they came around to our entire group. It was kind of a brief moment, but they came around to our entire group and apologized, and we're like, oh no, it's fine. Like honestly, I'm blessed with being a big guy in those situations, but not everybody's that blessed, it's so.
Yeah.
Well, I love that we have ideas for more chats.
Yes.
And I'm going to get on roller skates.
I love this.
You got it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So where specifically is the roller derby? Right?
That's a great question.
It's not?
Don't stress me out, Chris.
Okay.
So there is no skating rink in Charleston. This
Right.
is a travesty. They're all gone. And they keep closing throughout the state. So there's a place near Morgantown that we practiced, a place near Wheeling that we practiced, and all of these different spaces. West Virginia Roller Derby is made up of skaters from all over the state. There are teams all over the state. The one that first started in West Virginia is Chemical Valley Roller Girls.
Mm-hmm.
And I started that in 2007. And now there's teams all over the state, which is incredible. And West Virginia Roller Derby is an all-star travel team of skaters from throughout the state. But we don't have the space anymore. So this is our cry to Charleston: get us a skating rink, get us a space where people can roller skate, because it has come back throughout the nation, but it's lacking here in Charleston.
Well, that's frustrating.
So we'll just put Chris on our campaign sign to get a skating rink, so that it's like, see him on wheels.
See him on wheels. Right. Lace him up and watch the show.
Yes.
That's hilarious. Let's see. Anyone else has any comments? Yes, COVID is taking a toll on all of us. Aaron is giving a lot of prayer signs. I think it's in reference to getting a venue, right?
Probably.
I have a question for everyone else in the group. Is what do you see any barriers or things that you would like to see changed of how the lesbian community can come more together? Because I've not met Carly and Brandy and Brittany. Well, Brandy and Brittany, we just recently talked about the Lesbian Friends event, but besides that just popping up, do you have any ideas or things that you've like wanted to see that aren't out there? I feel like there are so many male-dominated gay events and groups and things like that happening, but we talked about the bar thing, but is there anything else that's like you've been wanting to see
that we could do, or ideas of like how to try to meet more people and get more lesbians together,
or just feeling like a place that's like a more designated welcoming space for that, or like identifying space for that.
Right.
So you realize that once folks start watching this video, we're going to have lots of messages saying, hey, why don't you guys do this? Why don't you gals do that?
That's great.
That's what that's what it's for, to open up that conversation, open up that line.
Well, while you're thinking, if I can jump in there, I know in the past, because a lot of even hanging out with Brittany and Brandy and a lot of our, guy friends and girlfriends in that circle, we always used to tailgate for football games. And so we were talking about, because listen, I like going to tailgates and whatnot, and I would never go into the football game.
Nothing wrong with that.
So fun.
But we were even talking about, things like that. Yeah, you're right. It doesn't have to be like a bar setting, something that is just welcoming and open and that anyone can show up to.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, tailgate would be awesome. I would love to do that.
That would be.
Mm-hmm.
On a West Virginia and Marshall, well, if they play this year, I mean, I know they don't play each other, but I'm saying if anybody plays this year,
Right.
a day that they both play and just like a joint big tailgate, and well, this would be fun. I did buy a projector and a big screen so we could like kind of show both games and have something like that. It would just be a matter of finding a good place to do that, a big open spot or something. But
oh my God, that'd be amazing.
that would be really cool.
That would be cool. Maybe
we can start with a micro group and do it and test it out, and then see how we can scale up from there.
I love it. Well, and that's kind of in line with what we talked about at the end of the L Word viewing party group. Is we talked about getting together again, maybe like once a month or every other month, doing like a movie night somewhere and just watching some sort of movie.
And may I say, Beth Lewis, we hear you. We're gonna watch Carol at some point.
Yes, Beth.
You'll have your copy of Carol, Beth.
I love that idea.
I love that idea. I mean, I think that's very cool. And
Priscilla Devine just said, I know a few parking lots I can secure.
we could do it.
Renee
You could do it behind the gym.
Conway said, I like that idea too. Beth Lewis wants a dance party.
One thing at a time, Beth Lewis.
If we have a big parking lot, that movie night would totally turn into a dance party. Just saying.
Oh, good.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is great. I think there's tons of ideas. We're going to make this happen.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, once we can gather.
Right.
But, the city of Charleston's been doing those drive-in movies with the parking lot.
It is awesome.
So
they did live music too. We went and it was great. Everybody was just parked in their cars. It was pretty much like Live on the Levee, just kind of drive-in movie version.
Right.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Well, I'm on the mayor's LGBTQ working group. Maybe I can talk to the working group and see if there's something, that we could
Mhm.
I'll circulate the word.
Yes.
Carly, we could do the parking lot at Brandy's gym in South Charleston.
Yeah, you know, the big lot
Oh,
behind
yeah.
it?
No, that parking lot's huge.
That
Yeah.
would be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think I guess just get permission from the city of South Charleston.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I
I can
think
talk to
UC owns that lot now, maybe. It's not Dow anymore.
Okay.
I think it's UC that owns that, but that
Well,
would be super cool.
And
Oh, yeah. That'd be awesome.
I think Liz is right. We should start off with a smaller group just to see how well it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
See?
That was really cool.
And let me tell you, when folks talk about or have talked to me about why we're doing all these online chats, I mean, aside from the fact that we wanted to do things during Pride Month that we, since we couldn't do so many other things,
Mm-hmm.
and then so many different topics, trying to start conversations with folks. But the hope is that the conversations would turn into, would be reflected in our in-person events. So that way these conversations that we start having here turn into a movie night or a tailgating or something like that. And not just, that it's welcoming to lesbians, it's welcoming to our Black community, our trans community. I mean, no, that's really exciting that we're talking about this.
Yeah.
Let's see. Priscilla says, I think it's a great thing to hear from the community. She said that someone projected a movie on the building across from where she lives. Oh yeah, see, we're on to something. We're on to something. Well, and even when it comes to younger kids, if we were watching things or doing events, even in spaces like that, that is not a 21 and over or 18 and over type atmosphere. That's part of the reason we started doing bowling nights, is we wanted a venue. Yeah, we need more of our girls out at the bowling nights.
I love to bowl.
I love to bowl. I'm so good at bowling.
Too. Yeah.
Perfect. I expect to see everybody there once we start them up again.
Okay, great.
But, we were looking for a venue where we were welcoming, younger folks and families, and it wasn't a bar atmosphere, but they serve food and you can get a beer too, that sort of thing. But yeah, even what we're talking about is great for, high school kids or, college age folks to come out and have fun.
Right.
Yeah, and to feel comfortable in that group.
Right.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
meet people.
For me, I never even known that, and early on as I did, I never had a group like that to feel comfortable around.
Yeah.
Same.
I'll imagine. I mean, that would be huge. I mean, and I think that's a big responsibility for us, is to provide that for younger kids, so they don't have to feel like we did or go through what we went through. So they do have that community and they do feel comfortable. I think that's really, really huge. That's a big reason why I wanted to jump on this tonight, to be a part of that, and hopefully, that's a big part of what I can do.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that.
100%. I would have given anything to have some type of community like that to go to around that age.
For sure.
Okay, I'm writing all your names down.
Seriously.
All on a team together.
Well, it is impactful, I mean, mind you, I'm older than you all, but back in the day, there was only one kid that I went to high school with that even we thought identified as being gay, and that poor kid got beat up every day.
Yeah.
And heaven forbid, anyone come out during that time, seeing that.
Right.
And now, mind you, now there's more role models on TV, there's the internet. So, our visibility is in a different place. But still, that would be so impactful. We were at a lobby day at the Capitol, and, Rainbow Pride is, we're a social advocacy group. We're not a political group. We're not a lobbying group, but we always go to support and to help educate folks, just like what we are, who we are, what we do. And Capitol High School's GSA came through there. And these kids were so excited seeing, like, of course they were going to all the tables, and it's the All Kinds Welcome Here lobby day, so there's all these like-minded groups there. But like when they came to the Pride table, they were super excited to meet older gay folks who were living their lives openly, and doing what they can to follow their dreams, and they weren't held back necessarily because of the fact that whatever however they grew up, or any struggles they had coming out, etc. And just setting that example. And so it was exciting talking to them. So that would be really cool. And it's so appropriate talking with on a lesbian chat, talking about community building. I just watched a movie the other night about the founding of the gay men's health crisis, and how it came out of the AIDS epidemic, and they were trying to just draw light to it back in the early days. And the first group outside of the gay community that stepped up to help them on an organizational level was the lesbian community. So we might have a few divisions where folks are like, why would I want to watch the L Word? But we're still part of the same family.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Well, before we end our chat, is there anything else that anyone wanted to talk about or thought they could talk about on the chat today? I don't want to overlook anything.
Gosh, Chris, I thought you were gonna be poking at some deep questions tonight. I was ready for everything. It's prepared, but no, this has been awesome.
It's been very laid back and cool, and just I think it's truly been like just a chat, just hanging out and chatting.
And that's
I would love to hear if anyone has anything that they want to lift up, any projects they're working on, organization, businesses, anything that they're involved in, anything that you can think of as small or big as you want to mention. That'd be really cool. I think going to Brandy's gym, that's definitely something we should talk about.
Yeah, that would be super cool.
Do you want to start us off on a little round table of things that we can
Brandy's Health and Fitness.
shout out?
Little shout out.
A little shout out.
Supporting our own businesses.
Lesbian businesses.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I do offer group training sessions, so there's that. I mean, what might be actually very cool is we do maybe a lesbian group workout. That could be a pretty cool thing.
I'm honorary. Can I?
You can join. You can join. Do not take a pre-workout. Don't do that. Just warning.
You want to say again what your gym is and where you're located?
Oh yeah, it's Brandy's Health and Fitness. I'm in South Charleston, 4th Avenue and C Street, and I am on Facebook. So for you people following on Facebook, you can look me up that way. Message me there. Yeah, for sure. That would be great. Always looking for new clientele and new friends and new workout partners and workout groups. That's always fun. Yeah.
Well, and so much socialization comes out of that too.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So many connections.
It's for everybody that I have down there, I mean, it truly is, it's like a family down there. I mean, I have the best people, and I guess that if I were to say anything else tonight about the community and being a lesbian in the community, that as far as being a lesbian business owner and just how I've grown a business in the past 15 years of being here, never had any judgment when I worked at a public gym. All my clients knew it was never a secret, never any judgment, nothing, only support. And these are the same people that have been with me, I mean, still today. I mean, 15 years later, they followed me, and that's the reason I have my own gym, is because I had that commitment and that loyalty from these people and that support. And it's never been a secret, for at least the past 15 years about who I was. And it was never an issue. It was always just love, support, and, it's been great. I couldn't have asked a better place to live or to own a business. It's been wonderful.
Well, and Brandy's gym it's an amazing gym. And I mean, aside from her being an amazing trainer, a very well-rounded trainer. I mean, not just, not to be on a soapbox about Brandy, but
No, go ahead.
but even when it comes to nutrition and, you know, just her gym is a great venue. It's a great workout space. I mean, for a privately owned gym like hers, where you're working with your trainer and getting that one-on-one or that group training, I mean, it's a well-stocked, equipped facility. I mean, you know, me as a photographer, there are times that I do fitness photos, and out of the kindness of her heart, Brandy has let me use her gym as the backdrop for some of these, you know, fitness photo shoots that I do. And so I'll have these real, you know, sometimes I'll get some folks that have gone on a fitness journey where they've lost weight, got into shape, and they're rewarding themselves with a photo shoot. And then I've got other, you know, folks in the past who are competing, you know, and they have, you know, not like a bodybuilding sort of thing, but close to it, the physique type stuff. And they're just looking for promo shots. And we've used Brandy's gym, and it's a cool space. It really is. The day I was there and almost passed out, it was just her and I working out in the gym. So it wasn't like there were a ton of people.
I just had a good friend text me and ask me, does Brandy do group fitness? So.
Yes.
She
Yeah.
does.
Awesome.
Sorry, I'm having a dog issue. I have to.
We understand.
Yeah, ours are like crying.
They're
too.
still crying.
They're still crying.
Yeah.
So let's see. Julie Palace, love the outside movie idea. She's asking what the name of the gym was.
Mm-hmm.
Brandy's Health and Fitness.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia Bennett said hello. She got here a little late. Aaron Hart loves everybody. Chelsea Hunt is asking how to join the Lesbi Friends group.
We'll send you an invitation. We'll get it.
One too.
Point.
So that's from Chelsea. Let's see. Steve Shamblin, contact the high school GSAs. Those kids can help, and also gives the adults, you know, that might be fun to, once the GSAs, I mean, once it gets to the point where we're in person like that, if there are kids from the GSAs that want to come help put on a movie night.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Ashley Montgomery, Ashley's sophomore daughter here. I would love to participate in something like that. I need positive lesbian role models. And that's all we have on this chat is positive lesbian role models. I love it. I have goosebumps right now.
Oh, that's awesome.
That is cool.
Well, I think it would be a little remiss if we didn't say, you know, I think I speak for all of us in this chat, that if you're watching, or, you know, and something has come up in your brain and you've been thinking, or something that anybody said resonated with you, and you're unsure of where you're at and you have questions, I think that we're all a safe people to talk to. And if you're feeling uncomfortable, or if you need some resources, or if you just want some gay friends, you know, you can reach out to any of us here.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. You know, and even beyond, you know, and I know as we're talking here, you know, it's the L word, it's the lesbian chat, but, you know, and we have a bunch of white faces right here on the screen. But being welcoming to our Black community, our trans community, you know, folks that don't look like us, and making them feel welcome so they're reflected in our community as well is really important for us. So the more we can find ways to do that, the better off we all are. And even youth, you know, even with, you know, kids coming out, and, you know, West Virginia has the highest percentage per capita of trans youth in the country. you know? And so I think that as positive role models that we may not realize that we are, because we feel like we're just living our lives, you know? But the more we can be visible and welcoming, and I think the better. And the better our state's going to be, the better our home's going to be. So
shout out Rosemary Ketchum. That was a huge headline for West Virginia.
Listen, I tried to get Rosemary for our last chat, and she's just so big. She's like on ABC. She's on Time Magazine.
That's all. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
really
exciting.
That's
So
great.
exciting.
My North Carolina friends are texting me, and I'm like, she's not my district, but it's a huge win.
right.
Yeah.
I wish I could have voted for Rosemary.
Yeah.
And she came into town because she's also on the board of the ACLU of West Virginia. And I believe that, wow, is that why she was in town? Anyway, she was in Charleston, and someone had introduced us and brought her to the cantina. And so when she came back through town, and after I'd met her, you know, she showed up one night just after some event, and, you know, was just having a drink with a friend, and I kind of fanboyed all over her, you know. I'm like, Rosemary, you know. And so I'm like, well, let's take a selfie. You know, of course, what do? It's, you know, you take a selfie. Yeah. But no, I was super excited for her. And you know what? Super excited for the state, because even as we're sitting here talking about how welcome we feel in other venues and other areas of our community, and then there's, you know, Wheeling, West Virginia voting in the first ever trans elected official in the state. You know, says a lot. So I know I was talking about Charleston being a little bubble, but we have little bubbles all over the state. You know, there's so much positive going on. We have a long way to go. You know, I don't want to make it sound like you know, I'm naive to all of that. So I understand the areas we need improvement in, but it just feels promising.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I think we're off to a really good start. I think we've got a great base.
That's right.
Yes.
Well, and I love you all for being here tonight. And honestly, I wish that we were in person having conversations.
Chris, can I get you?
Is that what this is called?
Chris, can I get you in a pair of earrings, Chris?
I don't have pierced ears, so I mean, if you can do
Clip-ons?
I'll figure it out.
You can do clip-ons.
I made these, Chris, for my shop.
there, you know, that's where I saw that on your social media, didn't I?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, let's do a little shout out for your shop.
Thank
A little shout out for mine.
Yeah.
So,
I have a handmade clay earring shop called Line and Form, and these pride earrings are on sale. They're almost out of them, but 20% of the sales are going to the Trevor Project.
Love it.
So anybody that buys these pride rainbows, 20% of the sales are going to the Trevor Project, and it's you can find me on Instagram at Line and Form.
You are such a good marketing professional.
Yes, that was very
It's almost like she does it for a living.
It's almost like
Greg just threw me these, and he was like, "You made these for me," and I'm like, yeah, "No, these are a whole nother thing, Greg." Thank you. Yeah,
Our favorite drag queen wears them.
yes, the Red Scare.
Red Scare.
Yeah,
I think I've seen photos with those earrings.
yeah. But yeah, I have my clay shop. I like roller derby for West Virginia roller derby, and I work for Mesh Design, and I live in Charleston, live on the east end, and work on the west side. And I just want to share a lot of love to this town for, you know, everything that it allows me to do. So thank you.
And hopefully we are sharing that forward. Yeah. And yeah, I agree.
Once I see Chris on skates, I will be
Push me forward.
Well, and so here, shameless plug. Whenever you fall and hurt yourself like you think you might, I'm not saying it will happen, but it happened to me the first time I was on skates after 10 years. I make a all-natural homemade salve for bumps and boo-boos from dandelions.
I love it.
And coconut oil and beeswax and another oil, and it's all super simple ingredients. I'm not going to say it's hypoallergenic because I don't think that I'm legally allowed to say that. But I make a lot of natural stuff, so just
And
like
where do we find that?
I'm still building my brand, but I just for now, you can find me on Instagram at ms.bettyrage, and I post pictures there and pricing and all that stuff if you have questions. But
see, we're gonna need another chat on LGBTQ entrepreneurs, like,
Right?
seriously.
I like that idea.
Some type of business.
Hey, I feel like I could sell that stuff at the gym.
Let's talk.
Muscle soreness, prevent that. We might be on a little partnership here.
I love it. Supporting our lesbian community.
Mm-hmm. Damn, that's gay.
So gay.
Okay. I love it. All right. Well, we've had more folks log on. Yeah, you guys can look at the chats. You can look it up.
Oh, wait.
No, there's nothing bad. It's just Aaron is still really excited. Well, folks, thanks again for being here with me tonight. And we're gonna, I think some good stuff is coming out of what we've chatted about tonight.
I think so too. This has been great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love you all. And Carly, I know we've only met each other once and it's been about a year, but I probably will hug attack you when I see you next.
That's totally fine. I accept hugs. I'm cool with that.
I saw Carly running on the street and hugged her once, so it's fine.
Yes. Yes, that has happened.
I love it.
Chris, that's not a surprise to Chris, I'm sure.
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. Well, thanks again, folks. And if anyone has any questions for anyone on the chat, leave a comment in the Facebook thread there, because we'll see them later. Because even if you didn't watch the video live, it'll stay on Facebook for a little while. And I've been recording this, surprise, but and Pride has a, Lynn's like, really? Oh, we don't have audio. What?
Cut you off.
Oh,
But,
they are cut off.
so next week, with all of the chats that we've done, we now have a YouTube channel. Rainbow Pride has a, Rainbow Pride WV. So we're going to put all these on the YouTube channel. So that way folks can just watch them and listen to what we're talking about, and or hopefully give folks, an idea to learn more, to talk to their friends and talk to folks that they don't normally talk to or whatnot. So anyway, I'm going to log off because I think each of you who know me knows that I just chat and I just talk and I talk, but
We do this all night.
We do this all night.
Hey, Chris, can you connect all of us? Make sure we
Yes, please.
Yeah.
post some info.
yes, most definitely.
Cool.
I will do that. It's perfect. I love it.
This has been
I love-
awesome.
And I
Yeah,
love your
right,
shirt,
sure.
Liz, the 1-800-WILD-FEMINIST.
It's from Wild Fang. You know Wild Fang? Out of
Yeah.
Seattle? Yeah.
See, we can just keep chatting.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I will see you all later.
All right.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you guys.
Thanks for having us. Bye, everybody. Bye, ladies.
Bye.
Fun.
Thanks.